Look at that jungle. Again, we are in the garden, and it is overgrown. Been really busy with a couple of projects, of which I will announce later this year, probably around September or October. They are still works in progress, so I'm going to leave those secret for now. But being busy with them has caused the garden again to get neglected and overgrown. So Marley and I are going to, we've been probably 2 or 3 weeks of not giving this garden some attention, so Marley and I are gonna walk through the garden, do a little damage control, and see what we have. The okra, I have been picking the okra from time to time, but it is growing so fast. And there is a size comparison of how long this okra is. It seems to grow so quickly when I pick them. It almost seems like the next day they're this big. It's not. It's, a few days go by. This one's really fat. And there are many more like it in this okra tomato bed. Another view of the okra tomato bed. A lot more okras to be harvested. We're going to get that. We also need to cook it today. I have some in the fridge that should have been cooked already, but it'll still be okay. I need to boil it up really nice. And let's check down here. This stuff is thick. It's hard to get down in there. I have to go a different way. Let's try it this angle. And it looks like we have a couple of tomatoes. 2 or maybe 3. There's the third one out of view. And they are just a day or 2 away from being ready. So other than harvesting the okra, the tomatillo okra bed is overgrown with some weeds, but that's not a big deal because they're a lot taller than the weeds, so I'm not really worried about weeding that. This is our strawberry overflow. I do need to weed that because it's looking like an overgrown lawn. And I just noticed, looks like a squash of some sort growing. Most of the squash, if you remember, succumb to mold and vine and fruit worms. I don't know, that's just a nickname. I don't know exactly the kind of worms they had, but we pulled all the lost causes out, and there were a few remaining vines holding on, most of which prospered really well and now are falling victim to the same mold and worms, and that lone ladybug can only do so much. But we'll go through here and pull out all the old stuff again. And then the broccoli, Brussels sprout plants, I have 2 or 3 in here that seem to be doing really well, maybe 4. So we'll pull the old viney plants away and let the broccoli do its thing. And I just noticed, I wish I had noticed it before, I would have taken care of it. I mean, I'm out here almost every day to feed the dogs, and I take a peek in the garden. But there's a nice sized cantaloupe that I wish I would have noticed to take care of, because it's all riddled with worms like the other ones in my, I don't remember what I called it. There's 3 cantaloupes on the thumbnail. There's another one there. I thought I saw another one somewhere over there. Maybe not. But those are lost causes as well. Cantaloupe casualties, that's what I said. So we have more cantaloupe casualties. And interesting, the 3 original core gardening beds that I have not planted anything yet in the compost and mulch and soil. Apparently I had a bunch of what looks like cantaloupe seeds that did not sprout, and they... Why are you barking, Ponyo? Why are you barking? A lot of cantaloupe seeds that did not sprout, so they have all volunteered to sprout in these new beds. So 2 out of 3 of these beds have some good cantaloupe vines going. There's 2 in there. And this half bed over here is, that half bed's empty, but there's cantaloupe there. So I'm just gonna let them do their thing, see what happens, and probably have to check the calendar, but might plant asparagus in one of these. And there's the tortoise. You hungry? You hungry? The watermelon bed is the thickest jungle of all, which is a good thing. For those of you who remember, the watermelon just refused to sprout when I planted it. According to the calendar and the suggested planting months, it just would not sprout, and I forgot about it. Well, I didn't forget about it. I kind of gave up and said, you know what, forget it. I'll just let it do what it's going to do or not do, and I'll rotate around and then plant something else there. And close my eyes and voila, it is a thick jungle. So next year I will adjust the planting date accordingly and plant it later than suggested, because it seems to be doing really well. We're going to get back to the watermelon in a minute, because there are some that may be ready to pick. So we'll get back to that. Oh, here's another ladybug. So back to the watermelon in a minute. And Marley is going to talk about the eggplant bed with the kale as well. Because see, here we have our kale, for those of you who remember. And the eggplants are doing very, very well. They seem to be less sun bleached than before, even though I have not put that screen up on this eastern side like I said I was going to do. They seem to be not getting as sun bleached as before, and they're still kicking out eggplants. So, but we do have an interesting problem that Marley's going to point out.
Right here. My daddy thinks they're like starting roly-polies in a different way, like they're new roly-polies.
Yeah, I don't know what these are. It's tiny furry white. Well, it looks like a furry moldy white, and then every now and then you see one walking around. It's roly-poly like, growing all over the eggplants, and there's this nice big patch right here on this post, and then here's some of the around the eggplant stems. Oop, and that ladybug there just flew on my face. Nice ladybug. They also grow around the eggplants themselves. See if I can get a good shot here. So I'm gonna have to look these up and see what they are, but they're very, for lack of a better descriptor, they're kind of moldy and fuzzy and delicate to the touch. And there is a lizard. Oh, He's making his way. Look, maybe I can see him.
Oh, he's right there. Oh, that's a green one.
Let's see if we can find him. Okay, that's a
He's
fly.
right there. He's right there. See him?
Where is he?
He's right there.
I don't see him.
He's right there. He's green. He's camouflaged.
Oh, I see him. He's down the vine. It's kind of hard to see him. Of course, he sees me coming.
It's a green.
But the eggplants overall look really well. They are covered in those white patches. So I need to look them up and see if they're harmful. Because the eggplants are doing so well that I don't want to pull them all up if those bugs are benign. Looks like we're having a lot more bees out too. So I always like seeing bees and wasps in a garden, and ladybugs. And what's interesting too is I'm seeing a lot more of these flies. I don't know what they seem to be attracted to or associated with those white patches, but we'll see. I'm not real sure. Need to do my research on that. Then I still have some empty beds here, and I think it's about time to go ahead and pull this cilantro. I was curious about the cilantro because I didn't know how it flowered, and I didn't want to pull it because it was very interesting. So I kind of let it go just so I could learn. But it's all dried and withered now, and I think it's done. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull the cilantro and make use of this garden bed. I did have a few scallions in there, which I think I've already pulled. Nah, there's a couple in there, a couple scallions. I had some leeks in here, but I don't see them. So anyway, so that bed probably needs to be pulled and used. And then this volunteer bed here, there's a few more cabbages that are kind of struggling along, but I don't know if they're gonna make it. And finally, my bell peppers are looking really well. And there's one there. It's about the size of a golf ball and a half. So a nice bell pepper there.
Well, these seeds we found maybe a week ago, they're starting to mold.
It looks like they're starting to dry. We'll have to look at them.
One is broken.
We'll look at them. We pulled these out of one of the dry bean husks, and Marley wants to plant those and see how they work. So let's go look at the beans out front. Oh, real quick, my Swiss chard is looking okay. Not spectacular, but it's still doing well. A few more little sprouts have come out, so we'll let that continue to do its thing. And there is the front yard little patch that I've been working on here. And for those of you with a good eye and a little bit of gardening knowledge, you'll recognize that as corn. So yes, I have a little bit of corn in my front yard. About a 12 by 24 foot patch. I need to put some more soil down there, plant the remainder. Only have about a third of it planted so far. But I'm not going to talk about that too much. That's another October surprise. Then the beans out front and the lone watermelon vine. Not sure that watermelon vine is going to do anything, but that's fine. It can stay because I'm going to plant pumpkin there. So I'm going to go ahead and plant pumpkin underneath the bean vines because it looks like they are on their last leg. I think they produce and then die, so I'm going to go ahead and plant pumpkin underneath them, and then in about a month or so pull the bean vines down. So all I have left is a pumpkin patch on this side with the one watermelon vine. And then on the other side, I've already planted pumpkin. So pumpkin on either side of the stairs, corn over there. And I need to stop talking because I think I've revealed a little bit too much about my October surprise. So let me just leave it at that until later.